Okay, yes, baby. Welcome to episode 6 of Synchronicity. You are tapping in to the root of the symmetry. I am your host, Tahuti Trismegistus. And as you know, unless it's your first time tuning in, but this podcast is named Synchronicity because everything is a synchronicity. Because everything is intentional. Everything that you are experiencing is coinciding inside of yourself. It is an intent that is happening under the tent that is your own home, your own vibration, your own infinite feeling of connecting your nothingness to other nothingnesses, which then looks like using something. Now we have a word like light. And then this light becomes heavy. This light becomes matter the more we wait in it. So today's episode is all about how spirits use numbers to numb themselves to their feelings so they can then create letters that let her connect. This is about to be a fun episode because I have made the building blocks of life. I've made Dissect the Dialect. I've created all these series and covered in Cosmic Conversations all these ways in which numbers are used to architect reality. So now that we are here with this podcast, and I've developed the language pretty well, I think, and have done even more astral realm explorations, and this is the first time I'm going to be talking about how spirits use numbers to create life in an unfiltered, completely flowing way. So everything that you see, everything that you would watch from my series online is, way more curated, right to the point, cool, all that, right? Just like getting right to boom, 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 right to the point. This podcast is about me getting to simmer my trees and actually flow to fully explore all the details, right? Because it's about, as a Virgo, as a Virgo moon, I learn from dissecting the details. That's what Dissect the Dialect, triple D, all that earth, cut up that earth so we can see how all this separation is connected. That's what I'm all about here. So I'm about to spark up. I will see you on the other side of this quick vibration. My soul's been crying. I simmer my trees, breathe in my leaves, balance my chi, triple my C. My mind's been flying wild. My soul's been crying. I simmer my trees, breathe in my leaves, balance my chi, triple my C. My soul's been crying wild. My mind's been flying so high through the astral plane, macabre brain. I built your game, we're not the same. My soul's been crying wild. My mind's been flying to relay a word. Those who listen heard. We make our vibe from deep inside. My soul's been crying while my mind's been flying back into my space, called away with haste, so I'll fall with grace to thrill my chase. My mind's been flying while my soul's been crying too. Water my earth, I know my worth. My soul gives birth to all my work. My mind's been flying while my soul's been crying, so I can't connect with those you neglect. Time to correct how we reflect. My mind's been flying while my soul's been crying too. Who flood the sea with energy from my inner chi? I'm free to be me. I fell to inspire you to say how to fly higher too. Fly higher too. Fly higher too. script and break the facade. Take a trip and go abroad. When you're brave, they will apply. When you get touched with your true God. I've been fighting, I've been vibing. When I'm dancing with demons, reversing curses and scheming, they be fiending for reasons to change the sins like the seasons. So I've been falling, cause y'all been calling my mind out of my spirit. I feel it best when I'm near it, but y'all cry for help and I hear it. So Hermes flies out to stare it in a new healthy direction. Will grow through natural connections. So I simmer my trees, breathe in my leaves, balance my chi, triple my C to level up like it's nothing, to turn into something, to bust into function, bumping and pumping with all the wisdom I'm gushing. And when I simmer my trees, breathe in my leaves, balance my chi, triple my C, I fell to inspire you. Simmer higher, I simmer in the skies, I triple in my chi, then I open up my eyes. I balance in my seasons. I mother the cohesion that keeps us intertwined. Balance in my seasons, and I don't need a reason to fulfill my desires. Okay, numbers. Spirits use numbers to architect life. I am excited for this episode. I'm literally just like completely observing myself and seeing how, for me to naturally express how spirits create life, I have to translate it into the language that Chase has been trained and indoctrinated into up to this point. So as I smoke, and also this podcast is not Cynchranici-Tea, right? It's not about blazing trees every episode. It's actually about drinking tea. Now, tea, you know, all the tea energy in general for Tahuti or Taurus or Thoth, it is about us connecting with ourselves. It's about us bringing our S inside of our space, not to the outside, and building our own garden. This is how spirits use numbers to create life, is to anchor their feelings into something. So a number is earth energy and your feeling is water energy. So every number is meant to make a feeling matter, right? So then that's where we can see in this reality, numbers are weaponized to enslave everyone, right? The idea of money is that whoever made it up gets to project their idea of what's valuable onto you, when in reality, the fact that they're even telling you that you need money means that they actually need you way more than you need money. But the people who tell you that you need money need to do their best to use their logic to convince you that you need money so that you'll actually serve them and thus create the circumstances where you do need money. Because now, instead of serving yourself, you've been serving the people that tell you that you need them. And the more you serve people that tell you that you need them, the more you're going to get sunk into get dropped into the sunken place, sink deeper into the sunken place, whatever, of not believing in yourself and not being in control of your own circumstances. And the more you believe in people who tell you that you are not good enough alone. For example, a great example is any religion, like the religion that has taken over North, South, and Central America, telling you that you're not good enough alone. When in reality, anyone who needs to invade your space and tell you that you're not good enough alone is literally someone who's projecting that from their own space so they can force you to connect with them in a way that builds their world. And that's the point of anyone using money to tell you that you need money. Like, money itself is literally a made-up idea that spirits create and use to figure out what they individually value. So the moment someone tells you that you need money, you can know for a fact that that's an individual who values you more than they value themselves, actually. This is how North, South, and Central America, everything that Anubis and my soul group have built, has been stolen
and completely twisted into the disgusting world that we are in today. It's because entities who hate being alone need to use a concept called money to then steal everything that other people made so that they can feel happy consuming things that they did not create. And then they use the concept of money to appear creative by acting like the more money you have, the more you can create. When obviously the fact is, the more money you have, the more you get to consume what other people created. Because obviously people who actually create life do not care about money. Money is an idea that was made up by people who are like, wow, spirits are creating life without a care in the world. We should colonize that. We should control how other people communicate so we can build a structure off of nature. And that's like in all simulations. This is in all worlds. Anytime spirits or like white supremacist entities are using a concept like money or numbers in general to separate other spirits from their feelings, is because they need you to build their world. They need you to feel like you're not good enough alone, so that you will be a slave to whatever concepts they're teaching you are healthy. When in reality, the moment you start connecting to those concepts, you're going to be way less healthy than you were when you were connecting with yourself. And this is, again, all realms and realities. Like, when I'm speaking in general, I'm speaking from my Hermetic, Somatic, Mercurian mind standpoint, where this is just like how spirits create life and how spirits manipulate other spirits' ability to create life. Because life isn't created alone. So the moment someone can make you believe something, they're making you build their world. And that's all a number is. So you have to use numbers to believe in yourself. You can't exist without a number. That's what this episode is about. We're going to get into the nice little nitty-gritty details of how spirits use numbers so that they can exist outside of themselves. And then we can see what each number means and how we use these numbers to exist outside of ourselves. Because that's the whole point. I mean, the whole point of a number is so that we can feel separate from ourselves. So when you think about money and having bills, right? Whoever's giving you a bill wants you to be ill because they're using a certain number to separate you from your feeling of being connected to yourself. And now the moment you believe in this bill, you believe in this be ill, you now start to get sicker and create disease inside of your body, because on a spiritual level, you're connecting with something that wants you to separate from yourself. And that is what causes health problems. Now, of course, the medical industry using my caduceus, right? They're never going to get anywhere close to being that intelligent or spiritual about how they're operating, because that's not the point. The point is to use my creation to keep you ignorant and to keep you dumb so that they can capitalize on your chi, so that they can colonize the way you communicate and build a structure off of limiting and enslaving your mind. So this is what numbers do. Numbers, in general, we are all slaves to numbers. We all serve numbers. A spirit, like when we create a number as a spirit, that's literally the thought that we are using to anchor our feeling. And if we did not have numbers, our feelings would be way too chaotic to actually exist. Okay, so that's why you have one body. All your feelings, right? You can have infinite feelings. You can have all these feelings. Guess what? They're being channeled through one body. Why? Because you are one spirit. You are one individual. You don't have multiple bodies out here because you're not multiple spaces. Now your body is being created by multiple spaces that are supporting you. This is the point of why life is not created alone. And teamwork makes a dream work. It literally takes all of us agreeing, Hermeticism, agreeing on ideas so that we can become somatic, so that we can vibe. It takes all of us looking at the same light so we can feel connected in the same water. This is why we're able to connect by speaking the same language. We've all consumed the same light from the same individuals, the same ideas from the same individuals, so that we can connect with them subconsciously and thus be able to regurgitate them that in a way that allows us to express our individuality, right? So like None of these words are us. We are we're nothing. We're not any of the things that we're using to express ourselves in any way, shape, or form. The fact is, we create things so we can express ourselves. And then as spirits, our creations are what define us. So Mercury, my simulation, defines me. It makes me the messenger of God. It makes me Symmetry. It makes me Ningish Zeta. It makes me Idris. It makes me Hermes Trismegistus. It makes me Zoroaster. It makes me Quetzalcoatl. It makes me Tahuti. It makes me many entities that are all just riding the frequency of who I am as the spirit, quote unquote, Iris cell, the Eye of Ra in a cell, the God of wisdom, the messenger God, the spirit who gets called away from his space to chase the desire of teaching other spirits just how awesome they are. Because that's all I ever want to do. Anytime I step out of my space, out of my own heaven in the esoteric realm, if I find my awareness inside of a body and I find myself trapped in a vibe with all these other spirits, then it is only because that simulation called me away from my space to teach and share hermeticism and simicism and show spirits how we create life by vibrating at a certain frequency. We create energy by vibrating at a certain frequency. And that is what settles into all the structures that then look like matter. So this is why all matter is energy vibrating at a certain frequency. Everything that matters to you in your life is a representation of some kind of energy that you resonate with, that vibes with you internally, right? So this is why projection is perception. People can't see things that don't matter to them. Literally. As a spirit, you cannot see something that doesn't matter to you. If it doesn't matter to you, that literally means that it's not Earth in your world. There's nothing for you to logically stand on because Earth is made out of water. We create stability out of chaos. All these white supremacist scientists who have stolen everything that we've done as indigenous peoples have very specifically inverted all this indigenous wisdom to make people believe that water landed on Earth. And this is what science has trained all of us to believe, that somehow Earth could exist before water. Like you could somehow have stability before chaos. It makes no spiritual sense. It makes no esoteric sense. When you know for a fact that life is created from nothingness going into fire, and then water, and then air, and then earth, and then that creates 5-cycle reality. That creates physical reality. And you know that water represents chaos, earth represents stability, and air represents communication, then we obviously clearly know that we can only ever build any form of stability out of chaos through communication. We can literally only create earth out of water through air. We can only build structures out of our connections by communicating, right? So you can be connected to all these people, but if you're not communicating, you're not going to build anything together. If you're not communicating, you're not building in general. So connecting is reflecting. Connecting is you just being, right, like tethered to something and reacting to it. Communicating is you specifically being tethered to something so that you can bring your imagination inside of that water. And that's what air is. All of us bringing our imaginations into the universe, which is our minds. So all of our minds are us bringing our imaginations into the universe. And that happens first internally before we do it externally. So you as a spirit, this is why I say, spiders are 8-dimensional beings. We look at the number 8. That top circle is fire. So that is God. That's you alone in your imagination. And the bottom circle is Lucifer. That is water. That is you connecting with your imagination. Thus, the universe, your universe. So everything in your universe revolves around your imagination. All of your water, all of your Lucifer, all of your music revolves around your idea. And your songs never end. Your feelings never end. Your chaos never ends. Right? So chaos is only ever the expression of one imagination. So this is why we have spirit, God, Lucifer, human, demon, or nothingness, fire, water, air, earth, or space, imagination, connection, communication, stability. This is why stability is an illusion. Really, like nothing is actually stable. Everything is unstable. All energy is vibrating at a certain frequency because our feelings are chaotic. And we're in the densest reality that we could possibly be because we feel like making our feelings matter in a really consistent, grounded way. This is what practical spirituality is, right? So everything we see is a spirit, literally like a group of spirits, whatever, making this structure matter because they're consistently communicating their minds in a way that can build something to support that. That's your body. Literally, your body is the structure that you as a spirit are building to support yourself. And all these other spirits outside of you are building this structure as well. They all have their own intelligence based on the blueprint. So, again, with numbers, right, we already see that you as a spirit are one space. This is why you don't have multiple bodies to express yourself in one simulation. Right now, you can have all these other bodies in other lifetimes, and you can have multiple bodies in one world. It's just not at the same time. And of course, anything's possible, right? There are spirits who are out here who hypothetically could operate more than one body. To me, as the practical spiritual symmetry, that doesn't make sense. You're missing the point if you want to operate more than one body at one time. Because the point of stepping outside of yourself is that you're relating inside the universe as an individual with other individuals. So to express your individuality by having multiple bodies at the same time, it almost defeats the point of relating with people as an individual, right? So this is where we get into like ego and superpowers and people being like, oh, if you're really Thoth, then why don't you build something right now? Build a pyramid. Why don't you make a planet? Why don't you tear up all the regimes that have stolen your stuff? That's not how communication works. Like, you're lost in the idea that I, as a spirit who's only in control of myself, can control other spirits. Like, that's literally, here's wisdom. I'm the God of wisdom. I'm here communicating to you wisdom right now. This is the wisdom. I'm in control of myself. You are in control of yourself. This is why the universe, being water, is chaotic. Water is chaos. The moment you feel like connecting with something outside of yourself, you are giving up your ability to control the circumstances. So this is why the moment you connect with another spirit, you're not God anymore. You're now a human. And all of your problems are going to come from Luciferian issues of how do you connect your God to this other spirit so that they can see what you see. And everything that you communicate, all forms of communication with anyone else, is only going to be possible and be informed by whatever problems you're perceiving and you using the idea that is creating the problem to also create the solution. Because that's what God is. That's what fire is. It projects out a problem. Because the problem itself is that it wants to connect its individuality with others. So this is how the numbers and the elements are so deeply correlated. We'll get into everything in that with Dissect the Dialect as well, because it's important to anchor in and know how the elements and the numbers are one and the same. So it's all about light. And it's all about knowing that our emotions matter. So elements are like the abstract form of our emotions mattering. Elements are the abstract form of our emotions mattering. And numbers are the logical form of our emotions mattering. So everything that's elemental is not limited by numbers, but it will be expressed through numbers, because that's the point. All feelings must be filtered through thought. All feelings must be anchored to something stable so that it can actually practically be expressed, or else it's too infinite and it's too chaotic. So this is why the universe, being water, just one big body of water that is literally created from all of us combining our bodies of water together, is only infinitely chaotic, because the universe is constantly reacting to how we connect with ourselves, and then how we project out our imaginations of how we connect with ourselves. That's what the mind is, the Mercury. You're carrying water as God, as the fire, and then that's what air is. So air is the balance, right? It's not projection or reflection, it's both. It's communication. So I'm just thinking like how I'm about to get into this. We'll just start from the beginning. Yeah. Yeah, because I'm just saying all this preface to, well, yeah, I mean, that's essential right there. Elements are the abstract expression of a spirit, and numbers are the logical expression of a spirit. And it takes both of these coming together to make life possible. I like this. So I love, man, this is cool, getting to flow and do this podcast, because I get to learn more than I knew before just by letting my spirit communicate through me. And because the thing is, me as Chase Clarence Calloway, I have been indoctrinated into this world like everyone else. That's the point of all of us creating a body that allows us to relate inside of a vibe, and allows us to connect with each other in a way that feels like we are the same. This is why white supremacists are lost in making us believe that we're all one God, or that we're all one consciousness, that we're all one energy. Because the moment we believe that we're all the same, now whoever made us believe that literally can infinitely trap us. The only reason you would think that you are one or unified with spirits outside of yourself is literally because you got so lost in light, you forgot that you're creative. You know, like, because that's what's really just made me mad in this life. Having to grow up and like constantly be taught and only perceive that I'm part of something that actually is just an imaginary concept used to consume and colonize and control my actual creativity. Like, people who are not creative need to come to my land and tell me, hey, you need to give your creativity to us because we're creative. That's why we're here raping and stealing all of your creativity, because we're creative and we're God. You're not actually God. We worship someone who fasts so we don't have to. What, you actually fast and you don't worship anyone for it? That's demonic. We're going to steal all of your nature and make money off of it. And now money's only going to matter because we're calling you the N-word. And money's only going to matter because we're going to steal all the nature that you create as N-words, as Negroes, from going inward. And now we as white supremacists are going to make our knees grow. We're going to make our stability blow up based on how much we can colonize your stability. So it's just, so this is the thing. Like, this is what spirituality is. It's truly like, you're infinite. You are infinitely God when you are alone. And this is important to know for when we start to use numbers to communicate. Because the whole point of numbers is that they're limiting our ability to be infinite and our ability to do whatever we want. And that's the negative but necessary light that allows us to ground how we communicate. So this is where numbers are only ever going to be there to ground and stabilize how you communicate, right? So, I mean, this is how money is weaponized against us. Money is a spirit telling us, hey, these numbers make sense and you need this amount of numbers to live on something that we're stealing from you. So give us all your energy and we're going to use your energy to build a system that makes sure that you never have enough. or else we can't keep you here, right? This is why money can't give you freedom. The moment you believe money will give you freedom, you are infinitely enslaved to whoever taught you that. So this is why people who are obsessed with money are obsessed with using slavery and using their control over the environment to constantly create harm. It just, like, constantly control the environment. They use their desire, their ability to control the environment to do so. They use their desire to limit other spirits and build structures off of limiting other spirits, to spread language, to spread law, to spread light, to spread all this logic that then, when we're taught to only be able to communicate with the words that we have, now the people who literally made up these words get to make infinite amounts of structure, make infinite amounts of money off of limiting our ability to communicate. So that's what Dissect the Dialect is all about. That's for the next episode, getting into what each letter means and how all these letters are used to have us build a simulation and keep us asleep. And then just the meaning behind all that, because nothing is a coincidence. And the fact is, even no matter what weapon is forged against you, your spirit won't let you connect with that weapon if it wasn't going to use it to level up. You feel me? So this is the importance of knowing that as an infinitely powerful spirit, when you allow yourself to feel powerless, that's because you are creating the circumstance where you're about to become even more powerful. And as you are creating the circumstance where you become more powerful from feeling powerless, you are then strengthening your mind muscle. This is what working out is. And this is why we step outside of our home, right? This is why we challenge ourselves, because it actually allows us to become stronger as spirits. So literally on a physical reality, because everything is going to be a physical representation of what we do spiritually, your muscles are your mind, right? Literally your mind can't be seen, but we can see your muscles. And now that we can see your muscles, we have a physical representation of how your mind uses your body to communicate in this reality. So if you're an athlete with big muscles, we now have an idea of your mind, right? Literally no one can see your mind but you, but we can see the body that your mind is operating. And now we can learn about your mind from what we're perceiving from your body. And then of course, with perception being projection, anything we're perceiving from your body is literally just us learning about ourselves. Right? So this is why anytime someone perceives anything inside of you, it's literally just them learning about themselves with you. And this is why we're all learning about ourselves together. And as spirits, we can feel like we're outside of our space, but it's actually impossible for us to get out of our feelings. It's impossible. It's impossible to get out of your feelings. Your feelings are what power you. Nothing matters without your feelings, aka the spirit matters without your feelings. And then really without your feelings, what other spirits matter, but you won't matter, and thus you won't perceive them because you're not creating matter. So it literally takes you deciding that you matter so that you can connect with other spirits who also decided that they matter. This is why spirituality has to be individuality, because it's all of us as spirits mattering together. Like, it's just that simple fact, right? We all are narcissistic in the idea that we feel like we have something worth expressing, which is the only reason why we're creating an awareness from nothing. So that's what fire is. Let's get into it. So fire and numbers. This is what fire is. When you as a spirit, I'm going to talk about how you create life.